if you're in a fat loss phase, you want to make sure you're implementing this, because one of the things that happens during fat loss is that you lose muscle if you're not careful. Not always lose muscle, but when you drop your calories, again, I said muscle is expensive to maintain. And one of the ways we maintain it is lifting weights. The other way we maintain it is we eat enough food to maintain it. And so when you go on a fat loss diet, you restrict calories. And as that happens, your body is like, hey, listen, we don't need all this muscle. Let's get rid of some of it. But you don't want to let that happen.
Welcome to the Legendary Life Podcast, where it's all about taking control of your health, losing fat, transforming your body, and living the life you deserve with celebrity fitness trainer and longevity enthusiast, Ted Rice. The most powerful way to build muscle? It's called progressive overload. But most people don't know where to start. So that's what we're going to dive into in this episode today. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the Legendary Life Podcast. I'm your host, Ted Rice, health expert and coach to executives, entrepreneurs, and other high-achieving professionals. We produce this show for two reasons. Number one, I've been in this industry for 24 years. I've seen trends come and go. I've seen so many things. It's hard to get into, but what I want to do is I want to save you time, energy, and frustration by sharing with you the fastest, most efficient, and of course, the safest way to get into the best shape of your life, especially if you're over 40. And the second reason is because most of our clients come from this podcast. So if you get a taste of results from implementing the information I share with you on this show, and you want to take your results to the next level because you're a high achiever and you know time is money and you'd rather spend some money to save some time, you'll know who to hire. So let's get into it. Progressive overload. It's not something that you're going to hear in marketing. It's not muscle confusion. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with muscle confusion, that was the P90X shift in their marketing that led to, I don't know how many millions of dollars of that product being sold. But they shifted their marketing and said muscle confusion. But it has nothing to do with confusing your muscles. What's actually at work is this principle of progressive overload. Now, I want to be clear about this. This is not my opinion. This is an established principle with a lot of research on it from exercise physiology. So I'm sharing the nerdy science that actually gets results instead of calling it something ridiculous like muscle confusion. One other thing that I want to share before we get into this conversation about how to get the best results of your life, no matter what your age or what your goals, I want to tell you this. Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're over 40 or under, you want to focus on building muscle. And why do I say this? Well, it's common. Now, I realize I'm going to make a sweeping generalization here, but it's common for women to say, well, I don't want to get bulky. And men also say this too. I've had one of my clients said, well, listen, I don't want to become a bodybuilder. So what I want to tell you is this. Please never say anything like that again. It's ridiculous. Okay. I try to be cool with you, but when I hear things like this, it's massive ignorance. It's like saying, listen, it's like telling your boss, listen, I'll work hard for you, but I want to be careful that you don't pay me too much money because building muscle is expensive. And I don't mean literally in terms of you have to pay money to do it. What I mean is it's hard for your body to maintain muscle. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes the right approach. It's hard to do. I train a lot more than you most likely lately. And I'm gaining muscle and it's really slow. So the other thing I want to tell you is if you feel like you're bulky or you're getting bulky, but you can't see your abs, the bulk is created by the fat that's covering your muscle. This is really important to realize because
so many people will say, well, when I start lifting weights, my weight starts going up. And I feel like that makes me bulky. And what I want to tell you is this. Yes, your weight might go up initially when you start lifting weights, because if you are behind on your workouts and then you start exercising, the benefit is that you're going to build muscle very quickly. And muscle weighs something. So it's going to cause the scale to go up. So trust this process. Trust, number one, that your time is going to be best served by lifting weights. If fat loss is your goal, or staying lean is your goal, or even longevity is your goal, muscle mass is key for this. The other thing is that if you're not super lean, you have way more body fat than you think. I'm in this fat loss phase right now. I'm down to 185 pounds, 185 pounds. I feel like I'm shrinking away, but I'm still not as lean as I want to be. I'll probably be close to 180 by the time that I'm done with my fat loss phase and bothering you about the veins on my abs. So I say this up front before we get into these strategies, because I want your mindset to be appropriate for taking this on, because you might have some preconceived notions. Well, I don't want to build too much muscle. I don't want to get bulky. Oh, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. Don't worry. If you're not taking steroids, you're not going to. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into this idea of progressive overload. And I want to share a little bit about where it comes from. Now, when I first learned about this, it was shared to me in a way that put it into historical context. So there was a Greek wrestling champion that lived in the 6th century BC. And the legend goes that he started carrying a young calf on his shoulders every day. So imagine a young calf, you pick it up, put it on your shoulders, and I forget the story of where he was taking it to. But the point is, and it's probably completely fictional, but the point is that he would pick up this young calf and carry it. And then as the calf grew in size, in other words, started weighing more, Milo would continue to pick up the calf, but his muscles also got bigger until the calf was fully grown into a cow, and he was picking up the cow and carrying it. Now, I have no idea how much a fully grown cow weighs, but the point is this: the way he got bigger was through picking up this animal, and the animal was growing. And what this means is that you must continue to challenge your muscles if you want them to grow. Your training, your workout only stays effective if you increase the challenge over time. Again, what I said maybe 2 minutes ago is that muscle is expensive for your body to keep. And it's very easy to lose muscle. Just stop exercising for 2 weeks, you start losing muscle very quickly. And so what also is important here is that if you're doing this, think about your workout. If you're doing the same exercises with the same number of reps, with the same number of sets, with the same weight, and you do that for years, your body's not going to change. You have to change the reps, the sets, the weight. You have to change something to challenge your muscles, because your muscles won't change unless you challenge them. So the first important point here is that the reps at the end of your set are what causes the most muscle to grow. These reps are called stimulating reps. They're called this because the reps closer to failure grow the most muscle. So I want to just give you a brief, I'm looking at an illustration right now, and you can even Google stimulating reps and click on images and start to see this, or actually you should go to my website. I'll put up this article with all the relevant images at legendarylifepodcast.com, and you can see what I'm talking about. So I want you to think about, let's say bicep curls. Could be any exercise, but let's say bicep curls. Let's say you're using a weight that you can do 10 reps with. So imagine you do the first rep, it's easy. Second rep,
still easy, third. It starts to get harder around the fourth, fifth, sixth. And as you get to that 7, 8, 9 reps, it gets really difficult. And on the 10th rep, it is extremely hard. In fact, let's say you go for 11 and you try that 11th rep, but you know what? You couldn't complete the entire rep. You stopped halfway. That's what we refer to as technical failure. So you could only do 10 full reps. And the weight that you used was your 10 rep maximum. What you want to do is to make sure you get to that 7, 8, or 9 rep mark. You don't always have to get to failure and hit that 10th rep, but you want to get close to it. And here's the issue. As you start to do that exercise with the 10 reps over and over again, let's say you do it for a few months, what happens is you get stronger, but you're still pushing yourself the same amount. And the end result of that is those last reps that are close to failure, the stimulating reps that we're talking about that start around maybe rep 7, 8, and 9, will start around 7, maybe 6 or 7. You start to get less of those stimulating reps as you get stronger. What does that mean? I know it's like a little bit of a science lesson, but stick with me because this is something that's missing and it will help you get better results in less time, or at least the same amount of time that you're spending in the gym right now. So what happens is as you get stronger, but you don't change the reps, the weight, or the sets, less of those stimulating reps happen. So what you need to do is you need to increase the challenge over time. You need to perform more reps. So maybe 10 reps with that weight was your 10 rep max, but the next time you train in the same workout, like let's say you did the workout on Monday, let's say you're doing the same workout on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, and you try to do 10 reps, except you want to try one more rep than what you did last time. And that will ensure that you're getting all the stimulating reps. I know it's a little bit tricky to visualize this. I'm looking at a chart right now of stimulating reps. And again, go to legendarylifepodcast.com if you want to see this in action and see some examples, because I even show you a screenshot from the app that we use in my coaching program. And this is from my workout. I use the same app to track my workouts to make sure I'm using progressive overload. And in the example, I start out with parallel grip seated rows, and my first set is 12 reps of 100 pounds. That's one workout. Then the next workout, I do 13 reps with 100 pounds. I've added a rep. And then the third workout, I went up in weight. So I did 10 reps, so less reps, but I used 110 pounds. And then the workout after that, I did 13 reps with 110 pounds. Can you see that initially I used 100 pounds and then increased the reps? And then I increased the weight and then focused on increasing the reps again. And if you do this over time, your body changes. But if you don't do this over time, your workouts become less effective. So you're doing the same workout that you've been doing for, let's say, it doesn't even have to be years. It could be weeks. If you're doing the same workout for weeks and you're not trying to increase the number of reps you're performing with the same weight, or increasing the weight and eventually adding sets. Now, adding sets gets tricky because it takes more time, but these are all things you can and must do to get better results from your workout. This is the secret. If you're wondering what the secret is to getting better results from your workout, I'm sharing it with you right now. Are you doing more work than what you did last time? Because if you're not, you eventually stop growing muscle and your physique won't change. Now, that's not the end of the world if your goal is just to maintain your physique. In fact, it can get to the point where you don't want to add weight because let's say you're doing a barbell back squat and you know that you can add weight, but you also feel, you know what, I feel a little twinge in my back. So you have to know how to approach this properly. But if you're in the beginning stages, I shouldn't even say the beginning stages, because I know people who've been training for years and they're not where they want to be or even close to where they want to be with their workout. So if you're in the beginning stages of implementing progressive overload, just know that this applies. Now, once you get to a place where you just want to maintain, you can keep doing the same number of reps, sets, and weight. No problem. You can even back off a little bit, not train so hard, but that's only if you want to maintain. And if you're in a fat loss phase, you want to make sure you're implementing this, because one of the things that happens during fat loss is that you lose muscle if you're not careful. Not always lose muscle, but when you drop your calories, again, I said muscle is expensive to maintain. And one of the ways we maintain it is lifting weights. The other way we maintain it is we eat enough food to maintain it. And so when you go on a fat loss diet, you restrict calories. And as that happens, your body is like, hey, listen, we don't need all this muscle. Let's get rid of some of it. But you don't want to let that happen. If a little bit happens, that's okay, but you want to prevent muscle loss. That's why in my coaching program, I have my clients do DEXA scans so that we can track their body fat change and lean muscle mass change over time. And we make sure that the majority of the weight that someone's losing is from fat. And if it's not, we make adjustments to, could be just the workout, could be the nutrition as well, but certainly we take action on it. And I would also say to you, if you're looking to change your body, be data driven about it. And I've talked about this a few weeks ago on my 8 health metrics men over 40 can't ignore episode. And what you want to do is, while you're applying this progressive overload technique, you want to do 2 things. Number one, you want to track your workout results. You don't have to use an app, although that's probably easiest. You can just write it down in a notes app on your phone. Are you doing more than what you did last time? Are you, over time, over the weeks, increasing your reps and increasing your weight? And if you have time, increasing the number of sets you do. How will you know? Well, if you track your workouts, you'll know. I know exactly how I'm progressing because I'm tracking my workouts. And if I'm not able to progress, even though I'm showing up consistently, well, that's a conversation for another episode. But we'd want to look into your diet, your stress levels, and your sleep. And also your program might be too much or could actually not be enough. Depends. But you won't know unless you're tracking over time. And the second thing you want to track is your body fat and muscle mass. And you can do that by a DEXA scan, which is the best, but it's also more expensive and harder probably to find, might take more time to schedule, and maybe not. Or you could do InBody. InBody is probably more available, but just Google either DEXA scan in your city or InBody in your city. So for example, I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I would Google DEXA and Sao Paulo, and I would see the search results. I would find something near me, set up an appointment, and go. So if you track those things, you can make sure that you're making the progress that you want. And I want to say one more thing here before we wrap this up. This idea of progressive overload, it matters more than what workout you're doing, what supplements you're taking, what exercises are in your workout, whether you're using bands or barbells, whether you're doing push-pull legs or 5x5 or even P90X. This is what matters most. And I can tell the level of sophistication and education someone has based on their questions. Hey, I'm doing this exercise because I heard it was best for chest, building your chest. It's an important consideration. But there's nothing magical about exercises. Exercises just target the muscles. It's everything that we talked about here that causes the muscles to grow. Because you could do the best exercise for biceps or glutes or chest or whatever and not get any results at all because you're not paying attention to what I shared. So again, doesn't matter what workout you're doing, doesn't matter what supplements you're taking, doesn't matter what exercises you're doing, or whether you're using barbells or dumbbells or bands or kettlebells, or whether you're doing push-pull legs, upper body, lower body, full body workouts, 5x5, Pilates, yoga, doesn't matter. Are you improving in some way or not? That's all that matters. And this is why so many people get stuck. And I mentioned Pilates and yoga at the end there. Now, look, the goal of yoga isn't necessarily to cause your body to change. That said, some people say, well, it really helped out my body a lot. And my upper body got stronger from doing yoga, but it didn't really help my lower body. That's a common thing that people will say about yoga. And the reason is that it's harder to challenge your lower body with body weight yoga, body weight exercises versus doing handstands in yoga or any of the more challenging pushing exercises in yoga. Easier for your body to change. You're just not tracking the progressive overload, but if your muscles change, you're doing this concept, you're applying this concept. And the same thing with something like Pilates or powerlifting workouts. It really doesn't matter. This is what causes your body to change. And once you start wrapping your head around this idea and taking a more systematic and scientific approach and data-driven approach, I should say, to your workouts, you're going to see your body change fast. One of the reasons people don't see their bodies change so quickly, and my body changes quickly to the point where people accuse me of using steroids, is because I apply this principle. Now, some people out there are using steroids, but if you see people who are natural and people are accusing them of using, it's really just because they're applying this principle. And most people don't apply this. Even if they've been working out for decades, even if they've spent a good portion of their life in the gym, even if they know a lot about lifting weights, if you're not doing this, your body won't change. It's as simple as that. I hope that's clear. I hope you learned something from today. And the other thing I would say is if you're looking for help, if you want to fast forward the process of building muscle and changing your body, go to legendarylifepodcast.com/apply. That's legendarylifepodcast.com/apply. And I want to be clear here. I work with executives, entrepreneurs, and other high achieving professionals. So if that isn't you, you're really not the type of person that I work with, which is okay. Keep benefiting from the information that I share on this podcast every week and use it to get better results. However, if you are a high performer, if you are an entrepreneur executive and you value your time and you're finding yourself researching way too much, getting too confused about what to apply and how in terms of your health goals, and you want to simplify that process and get a step-by-step, effective, simple program that leads to the best results of your life, again, go to that legendarylifepodcast.com/apply, book a 15-minute call with me, and we can talk about whether my program is right for you or not. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. What can you take away right now that you can apply in your workouts to get better results? Go do that, and I'll speak to you next time.